Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today, this isn't really going to be a review type of video because the book that I'm going to be talking about is really well known. In fact, it's so well known, if you haven't read it, then chances are you know the storyline, or pretty much the basic storyline, and that is A Christmas Carol. Going back to what I said about if you haven't read it, then you know what it's about, because this book has got loads and loads of adaptations, movie adaptations, TV series, probably has a stage play. It definitely has a musical here and there, and it probably has stuff that goes beyond that. I have read A Christmas Carol, if I had to guess, about 4 times now. It's something that I read every single Christmas, and it would even be really strange not to read it at Christmas. Just to skip it at Christmas would be unthinkable, because A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens embodies the spirit of Christmas. I have got numerous copies of A Christmas Carol. This was the first one that I got, which is just a standard paperback with no illustrations, just the bare story of A Christmas Carol. I have the Christmas books by Dickens, which obviously involves A Christmas Carol, as well as some other ones that I'm trying to read this year. And I've also got a reproduction of what the first book actually looked like. It has gilded edges in it. I don't know if you can quite see it, but there's like embosses on the cover as well as on the back. Again, not sure if you can really pick it up on camera. And it has the gold lettering there and wreath with A Christmas Carol. And this is a reproduction about how the original book actually looked like when it was first published. And this one has coloured pictures in it as well. But this one's more of a collector's piece rather than one that I'm actually going to read. So why is A Christmas Carol so important to me? Why do I bother reading it every single year, apart from the fact that it encompasses what Christmas is all about? I do not know. The character of Scrooge is a very interesting character, because when you read it, he goes from this really horrible, villainous, conniving, stingy old man that is all about money grabbing, and he shuns society and he doesn't want anything to do with anyone. He just wants to be in his cold office making money and shunning human kindness. And then at the end, he embraces humanity, he embraces the Christmas spirit, he embraces what it means to be human and to be kind to anyone that has fallen under hard times, not just at Christmas time, but throughout the whole year as well. But with this book, it is strange because when Christmas comes around again, Scrooge is kind of reset back to his previous state. He isn't the jolly old man that he becomes in the at the end of the book. He reverts back to his old miserable ways. And despite the fact that this book isn't long at all, if you wanted, you could read this in one day. There are numerous things in there which I enjoy revisiting and experiencing again. There are also things which I pick up on a reread, and there are also things which I still do not understand. I do not understand why the Ghost of Christmas Past has a kind of a cap which mankind has made, I think, or it's implied that mankind has made this cap, and the spirit is forced to be wearing it on its head to block out its light. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to actually represent. And it's really nice to go back with Scrooge and to go on this journey with the three spirits. I read this as part of a readathon that I'm doing, or I'm taking part in rather, called the Christmas Evil Readathon. And this book satisfies the prompt of A Christmas Carol, read a book that has ghosts or is about a haunting. So I thought that this was one that would fit that bill. And I'm not sure if the other Christmas books by Dickens involves ghosts or spirits. If they do, then I will include all of them in that one prompt. But as I was saying about the spirits, it's really nice to go back with the spirits and to like see Scrooge's past, how he was a boy and how he was a loner. He liked to read a lot and he wasn't a bad kid or anything like that. He was just left by himself, and I think he liked the company of himself more than the company of others even back then. And his sister, he had a fantastic relationship with his sister, and it kind of hurt him when she died, and he kind of blames his nephew for the death of his sister, which, is not really his fault, but that's why he kind of pushes him to the sides whenever he comes to Scrooge, especially at the start of the book, to wish him a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and to invite him to dine with him, to have dinner with him. And the Ghost of Christmas Presents is the longest chapter that we spend with a spirit, and it does look at the merry things at Christmas time, but it also looks at the situations of people that aren't well off, about people that don't have enough money, but they make do with what they have. They are grateful for what they have. They don't moan or anything like that. And they have a fantastic Christmas. Yes, I do think somewhere at the back of their mind, they would wish that their situation would be better and their lives would improve a little bit more. But obviously I'm talking about the Cratchits, and that family is like a really good family, and they are kind of like the Weasleys in Harry Potter, or that's how I always see them as. And I think that Scrooge's time with this spirit kind of grounds him and opens his eyes a little bit more with the situation of people that are less fortunate than ourselves, that we kind of put ourselves in this own little bubble and we don't really see the situation of others. Like, even this Christmas, there are probably people that can't afford to celebrate Christmas. They can't afford to buy presents, and if they can, it's maybe like one small present each. They can't afford to buy this massive feast. They can probably only afford to buy like a small amount of food, and maybe people are miserable at Christmas. I know some people definitely pass away at Christmas, and Christmas is a very difficult time for people. And this is also mentioned in the book as well, that men and humanity should open their hearts at Christmas time, and it's a time for us to be more kind to each other. I suppose the best way of describing it is. And this is also the part of the book where Scrooge actually finds compassion towards someone and towards something that isn't himself and isn't money. And that is obviously Tiny Tim. He thinks of Tiny Tim as a son, I think, and he is concerned for his welfare, and he doesn't want Tiny Tim to die, because the spirit tells him that if he goes on the same path as he is doing, if Scrooge does not change, then Tiny Tim will die. And that tells me that Scrooge does something very important to cure Tiny Tim's illness, to prevent his death. And I believe that that's through medicine and through doctors, that he took him to a hospital, he got him checked out, he got him on the right medication, and ultimately he saved his life. And then we have kind of like the cherry on top of the cake spirit, the spirit that Scrooge knew that he had to change, but this spirit was the last one that he had to encounter, and he just thought, okay, I want to change, I am going to change, but let's get this over with. But he was scared of this spirit. He said that this spirit is the one that he was most scared of, because it was primarily there to show Scrooge his future and what would happen if he didn't change his ways. And I think that we are all scared of the future, about what's going to happen tomorrow, what tomorrow will bring, what will eventually happen to us, how we will die, how people will, react to our death. Will we be remembered, or will we be forgotten throughout the passage of time? And while they are going on this journey together with the spirit of Christmas yet to come, Scrooge encounters a man that is covered with a sheet. He's lying on a bed and he's covered with a sheet, and Scrooge is terrified to reveal the identity of this man. And when people are selling things of his, that people that he knows, servants of his, that are selling his stuff, or things that look like his stuff. But when the spirit takes him to the graveyard at the end, and Scrooge ultimately sees his tombstone or his grave, then he gets down on his knees, he begs the spirit that he will change, and that's the major turning point of Scrooge. And that's his main transformation into the jolly old man that we know that he will turn into at the end of the book. And this book is just full of Christmas spirit and Christmas magic. It's just that when I was in the mall where I work at, we have a kind of a Santa's grotto, and it's all open, and Santa's sitting on like a made up porch on a rocking chair. And when I was eating my food, I kind of just glanced over to see what was happening, and the Santa there and me kind of looked at each other, in a friendly way, of course. And I was thinking that, how magical Christmas was when you were a kid, and how you got up every single morning to see what Santa left you under the tree, and how throughout the passage of time the magic has evaporated. It's gone. It's not completely gone. We still like Christmas now as adults, but not to the extent as when we were a kid. And it made me think about what Bill said in Stephen King's It, that when his friends were asking about, okay, why can we only see this clown? Why can we only see this entity? And Bill was pretty much implying that when we grow up, we lose the ability to, see magical things, to understand magical things, to believe in magical things. I think that is true for us today. We accept magic, we ooh and ah when we see it, but we all know that it's fake, and we all know that it's for entertainment. But when you're a kid, you're blown away by that stuff. You believe in it. And I think that at the end of the book, Scrooge goes back to that state of believing when he was a child. His belief in the magic of Christmas is fully restored. So yeah, that's been my little discussion. Not really much of a review, more of a discussion video, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I will continue reading A Christmas Carol every single year, and hopefully I've inspired people to read it. If you haven't read it, and just read it for the first time, The book is really short, or if you don't want to get the book, you can listen to it on audio. I will have a link to the audio version that I listen to down below in the description in case you want to check it out. If you have read The Christmas Carol, let me know down below and let me know what you think about it, and yeah, just have a discussion about it down below in the comments. With all that said, God bless us, everyone, and I will see you in my next video.